Right? I think we've got this, right? There's a thing over here and a button to do this stuff. Hey there, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It is so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is February 10th, 2024. We're going to write a little bit of code today. I know it's a Saturday stream. I haven't done these in a while, and I need to get back into some of this. I've got a lot to do. Hey, Ionescu, thank you so much for the resub.
Janice Q7 just resubscribed for 25 months. Kaparos.
Hello. Thank you so much. And I'll make another donation to the American Cancer Society. Thank you so much for that support. I was out of office for most of this week. I was over in Stockholm. I gave a presentation at Svitog, a local conference in Stockholm, put on by folks from the community. A magnificent event. A lot of really great speakers there. Really good turnout. I had fun there. It was a quick turnaround. I left Tuesday night, flew back Friday morning. But I had a good time, and I feel like the type of content that I delivered there, and yes, the session was recorded. It will be on their YouTube. It's a team of volunteers working on this event, so it'll be on their YouTube soon. So I was delivering a session that I've given in the past about and I've updated it for .NET 8 now, but about building and delivering components for working with Blazor. Reasons for building components are quite clear. The amount of reusability and productivity you get from reusing pieces of user interface content that other folks have written. Those capabilities are undeniable. How you do it and the features that are available to you in Blazor are the things that folks need to pick up and learn about. So speaking about that, teaching about that is something that I really enjoy. Hey, Warm Peas.
Warm Peas just resubscribed for 13 months. Woo Saturday stream.
Oh yeah, why not?
Wave.
Absolutely. How you doing there, Warm Peas? So, but in true Jeff Fritz style, do I have a style? It's an ugly style with a hat. I'll say that much. Hey, Muhammad, how you doing there on YouTube? I delivered I had a handful of slides. I think I had like 10 slides. And thank you for the follow. And in delivering the content, I live coded the whole thing. There wasn't a line of code that I showed that was pre-written anywhere. We got lots of GitHub Copilot assistance along the way, which makes it easier for me to get through and deliver the content, because I end up doing a little bit of, I end up training Copilot because I've practiced. How many times? I think I practiced this session 5 times in the day before I presented it. But none of the code, I've got notes if I need to fall back to them, and I have a completed version of the project if I need to go to it, if I stumble. But I know the content cold, and I can run through and live code the whole thing and show, here's where you're going to hit errors. Here's where things are going to be really simple. Here's where it's easy to discover and follow along and deliver value as you're building components inside of your applications. It's something you've seen me do, building components here live on stream, and I really enjoy it. So it was great to be able to share that. I think there's absolutely a place for me to do more in public live coding and that very lecture oriented style of presentation. However, I do appreciate that it's limited to where I can go, where I can travel, and the number of folks that can attend in person. So that's absolutely why I love doing this online, so I can talk to you out there. Folks like Phil Vesey. Hey, Phil.
Phil Vesey just resubscribed for 32 months.
Thank you so much. And I'll make another donation to the American Cancer Society. And because we're broadcasting like this, you can say whatever you'd like. We can talk, we can interact, and have a good time writing code together. Please interrupt me, ask questions, use some of those commands that are there in the help list there. There you go. So you can get my attention and hey, Fritz, tell me a little bit more about this thing that you're building, or why does this work this way? All the code that we're showing is open source, freely available. Anybody can download and work with it. I should put a project out there, project statement on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the links just below in the description. You can get in and get access to that. We're going to be tidying up some features in the migration of Tags app to Blazor with .NET 8. And I will make sure I include the link to GitHub because I want you to check it out.
Justy1220 just resubscribed for 20 months. 20 months amused.
Hey, Justy, thank you so much. 20 months. 20. Did you have a different screen name at some point? Thank you so much for the resub. Almost 2 years, and I'll make another donation to the American Cancer Society. Let me bring up the chat room. There's chat right over there. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Let me scroll down here. Goku Jack's asking, did I think to create the pagination object through SQL using raw SQL query instead of using the paginated list async extension method? What are you referencing? What project are you referencing? Help me out there. Paginated list async extension method. You have not changed your name. Okay. American Cancer Society is a charity, means a lot to you. So, I've said this before. We've had a number of folks in the community, unfortunately, taken by cancer. I personally have a family member that's currently in chemotherapy and radiation treatment. A good friend that I've met at that I met on the conference circuit. They're going through and dealing with cancer recovery efforts. So it's something that we're all going to be touched by directly, indirectly at some point. So I'm happy to support the American Cancer Society. Pagination object through SQL using raw SQL. Okay, so in general, yes, and Goku Jax, I have done that in the past. So when you're working with a database and you want to do pagination, hey, I've got a list of 50 things here and I only want to show 10 at a time. You can do pagination, right? You can say, give me a page of 10 of these very easily with some entity framework code. However, the way that interacts with the indexing that you might have in the database might not be completely optimized for the way that you want to work with it. So I've done things where I've handed off to Dapper, in fact, to execute a stored procedure and return content and pass into that stored procedure. Here's the paging criteria that I want to work with, and use appropriately optimized SQL statements, select statements for filtering, ordering, and returning that set of data. It ends up being on a very large data set. It ends up being a little bit faster because of the way that you can leverage your indexes to optimize and query that data. So, let me move on here. Let me continue. So, we've been working on Tags app. It's an application that queries and interacts with various social media networks so we can bring together and have one set of interactions for a streamer, for a topic, and we can see for a hashtag out on the internet, on Twitter, on Mastodon, here's what's going on, here's what people are talking about. We can also add to the mix what's going on in Twitch chat, so on and so forth. We're almost done this migration to .NET 8 in Blazor, which has been a rewrite from vanilla JavaScript and Razor pages to an optimized Blazor application that feels a little bit faster. We're getting there. There's a couple of tasks left to do. I want to show you the issue that I have listed out here that we're working through. Let me bring that up, and I'm also going to get some music playing in the background here. I'm going to go to the Stream Beats Synthwave playlist. And, oh, okay, let's start with this one. This is called Miami Man. There you go, you see it up there. This is music that's DMCA free, royalty free. Listen to it wherever you'd like. Really cool to have in the background. Big thanks to Harris Heller and his team of creators for making this music available that we're listening to today. Hey, Collateral Damage, good morning. No Demon asks, will Maui be available to Linux? So you can use .NET Maui you can build with .NET Maui on Linux as a developer. .NET Maui targeting Linux runtimes is not currently available. There is an open source project to build that. The challenge is getting the staffing and folks appropriate to build and target some Linux UI desktop framework. Quite frankly, the feedback that Microsoft has gotten when they go and interview developers who say, hey, I want to use .NET Maui to target Linux, they don't actually want to target Linux. They just want a checkbox so they can say, yes, I have a tool set that allows me to deliver a framework to Linux. So to that point, just build a web application. Is this conversion series? Yes, it is on YouTube. Yep, you can find the whole thing on YouTube. Go to youtube.com. C# Fritz, and you can see it there. Thindall, hello, hello. Good to see you. So, no Demon 12. The folks that want to convert and use Maui to target Linux typically don't really want to. They don't have a significant user base. They want to be able to say, yeah, we can build and deploy to Linux, even though they're not really doing it. So, what we also need to appreciate is there's orders of magnitude in the size of the audience of folks that are building and targeting the 4 runtimes that Maui supports. Windows is the largest. iOS and Android are 2 and 2A. And then comes Mac OS. Linux is significantly less. They're having a hard time keeping up and getting the other 4 frameworks in line. Adding Linux into the mix is something that the community needs to help with. And quite frankly, they don't want to help with. So, let me see here. How you doing there, Thindall? Good to see you. I got to spend some time talking with Thindall in person this week. It was amazing to see them in person. Hello, hello. Sean asked, what do I think of Microsoft Azure Fabric? Is Blazor United out? What? Azure Fabric is a way to build and let me make sure I have the product name right. Blah, 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 blah. No, this is not the same thing that I thought it was. No. I see Fabric as something that's trying to be the next SharePoint. Hey, you can just cobble together and glue together pieces of an application. So, yep, it's under the because they're doing live broadcast. Go over to the live section, you can watch it. Each video is 2 to 4 hours. So there is, when we get done this migration, I'm going to start recording 10 to 20 minute kind of summary things about what Tags app is and what we've been building with it. So, you had to work on a React project, hated it almost as much as JavaScript. Well, there's that. And React has so many moving pieces under the hood. And folks changing things very, very quickly without coordinating with other projects in the stack. It's easy to break and see dependencies causing problems. So, had a great time at Sfito. Good. I enjoyed it as well. So, You were late to my session. Oh, thank you. And you learned new things at my session. Wow. Wayland is having a lot of changes, so progress may easily be scrapped if they took a different approach with some things. Okay. Okay. Is Blazor United out? Well, the idea, it's Blazor United was the concept as they were building .NET 8. .NET 8 is out, and you can choose where you want to build and deploy your various Blazor components as you're building your application, right? It's no longer something that you have to declare at start new project time. You can declare where you want your Blazor components to run at development time, and it works amazing. Eric's here on YouTube. Hello, good evening. Saturday night wine time. Nice. Nice. Gotta love that. Hope you're having a great Saturday evening, Eric. I'm gonna go back over to the text over here because there's some really good questions coming here. On dry, is it on dry sec? Maybe a weird question. What is the trend for globalization and localization? Create a resource file for every single view model controller, or create a resource file for forms, errors, or create one big shared resource. I don't like one shared resource. Where I think we should be with localization, and I think localization is something that we absolutely need to address in TagsApp, the open source application we're working on together here on stream. I think with ClipTalk, I had one CSV file, and it had like a couple hundred lines, or it was one JSON file, I'm sorry, and it had about 120, 150 entries. Not a lot in the grand scheme of things. However, where I would lean towards, because it was a small set of resources at that point, where I would lean towards is I would separate out different resources per business area, per module of functionality. Thinking about a general store app, I would put the resources around orders and order management in one place. Resources around how we're presenting and showing content on screens to actually sell the items, right? The product detail stuff. I'd put all that product information in another resource, because you're really going to load that product information much more frequently than you are the order information, because that's only going to come up when you get into your shopping cart and you're going through the order process. Versus when you're looking at product information, you're going to hit that content much more frequently as you're shopping and going from product A to product B to product C. So separating those by subject area, by functional area will help. However, I'm going to go back to a statement that I've used in the past around how we build and design code. If you can manage in your head, right, or in your list of transcriptions, in this case, translations, not transcriptions. If you can manage in your list of translations without significant context switching all the things that you need, then only use one file. Don't make things complicated until they need to be complicated, is what I'm saying. Because once you start introducing complication, it's real hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube and make things simpler. It's real hard to do that. So for TagsApp, as we get in and start building this, I'm gonna start with one resource file. However, I'll probably break out and have an administration resource file separate from, right, our typical user resource file. So I'll end up with two, maybe a third one comes along at some point. But the pattern that I think, and it goes for all software that we write, the pattern that I think we want to embrace is introduce those complexities as you need them. If you don't need them yet, don't do it. So, yeah, the interactivity model. Yeah. Thank you for the answer. To clarify, your workstation is running Ubuntu. You want to target mobile. Yes. So, no demon. If you're running Ubuntu, and I've given demos on this, You can install the .NET MAUI workloads, and you can build and target Android. Apple's restriction on, and you can also test Android. Apple has restrictions on what devices are allowed to build and develop and target Apple operating systems. So you can build and target Apple on your Ubuntu machine. However, if you want to test and interact with it, you need an Apple device in order to do that. That's an Apple restriction. So that's their requirement. No Thumb says, that's awesome. We're working to convert .NET 6 to 8 right now. We have been integrating Razor components and views too. Very cool. Just a straight conversion from 6 to 8, you can do without modifying, changing your content. You can just change the version number and everything will work. If you want to embrace and use the new features, then it gets a little dicey. Then you need to work with it a little bit. How you doing there, Dr. Cox? Coding with Carlos. Hello, hello. Let's see. Justy just started a new job working for a company, created a product for school cafeteria processing. Seeing the source code has made me appreciate the work that I and everyone else has had to develop. Yeah, there's a lot there. McNett's asking, how was the trip to Sweden? It was good. I had some challenges with the airline, not going to lie. British Airways, the flight staff, the crew that operates the planes, great folks. The folks on the ground in the airports, they've got a lot of folks they deal with. They did a fine job. The people who are building the websites and applications for British Airways, you need to check yourselves. British Airways, your applications and websites stink. Period. You aren't testing. You aren't showing appropriate customer interaction friendly messages and errors and giving folks a way to correct them. Your security processes are overbearing, unnecessary, and quite frankly, the fact that I need to answer more security questions to talk to customer service than I do to get on the plane is ridiculous. Call me, because you've got a real problem with a security team that has gone over the top bananas stupid. And you need to fix it. And when I get you on the phone, like I did in the past 2 weeks, and I tell you, I don't think you understand. I know a thing or two about building websites. Look at my profile. And you still don't believe me. You've got other problems, okay? You've got other problems there. But I had an amazing trip. Loved the folks in Sweden. Stockholm was a lot of fun. Good food. Good time with folks that I've been looking forward to seeing. So including Thindal there. How you doing there, Mystic Odja? Hello. Those are some famous last words. Really? They fly on the left side. That's it, McNets. They fly on the left side. I'm used to flying on the right side. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. You mentioned the one with validation for the public purchasing site. Yeah. In order for me to ask questions about my tickets to fly, not to board the plane, not to claim my tickets, but to ask questions about them, I needed to give the credit card number and a list of other people who are on the plane. The tickets were purchased for me by another organization. Consequently, I don't know who else they bought tickets for. What? 99% of the websites online stink. Bitwise. My trip was booked as a round trip on British Airways from Philadelphia in the United States through London to Stockholm, Sweden, and a return trip through London to the United States. In order for me to fly to Stockholm, I needed to, for security and immigration purposes, according to British Airways, I had to report where I would be staying in the United States. This is after I submitted my passport that showed that I was a United States citizen, that showed that I was a resident of the United States, and showed my home address. I had to report where I would be staying in the United States on my trip. Do you see the logical error there? And they wouldn't talk to me about how I couldn't submit a location of where I would be staying in the United States after I landed in Stockholm because I'm from the United States. I needed to give them a credit card number so that I could tell them that their website was broken. So, if I think British Airways is bad, don't even consider visiting the ANA website. ANA, help me with the acronym there. You say the same thing every time you go to a website app that isn't up to the level of what you feel it should be. And Justy, that's why I feel it's important for us to be able to give encouraging feedback. I don't want to say negative feedback, but encouraging. Hey, your website does this. It probably shouldn't in this scenario. You don't need security access from me in order to be able to do that. How did Thin Dog get on at the conference? Sure, you can clip it and tweet it to them. I've called them out, and I've shown and I've posted screenshots to Twitter about it to show them just how dumb they are. Because when you refuse to accept that one of your customers is having this experience, and you're going to have a lot more folks have this experience who are less technically sophisticated and decide instead to throw up their arms and say, I don't know what to do about this, and create bigger issues for you. Take the feedback. We've talked about this in the past here on stream. All feedback that you receive is a gift as a software developer. All feedback, positive, negative, or otherwise. Somebody says, oh my gosh, I really like this feature. Okay, lean into that a little bit. Maybe there's something there that you can enhance, make a little bit better. Maybe there's something you can learn from that feature and apply it to someplace else where folks need a little bit of help, struggle getting through your application. Someone says, hey, this is a piece of junk. This doesn't work right. I'm not happy with this. It really is painful for me to use this thing. Okay, now you know if I want to make it easier for folks to use my application, we need to go clean that thing up. All feedback is a gift. Companies entered a bid to handle the parking fees. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah. Yep. LTL King, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. Question part 1 of 3. All right, let's see what we got here. You learn better by seeing practical applications. Go ahead, take a picture. I don't know if it knows this one. It might not. Yeah. You learn better by seeing practical applications or real-world applications versus having someone say this is how to do things. Totally agree, LTL King. Totally agree. Looks like that's scrolled off the thing here. And that's why I do live streams like this. Let's build a thing. Let's build it. Here's the source code for it so you can go and watch it and follow along. Totally agree. However, there are also folks that want to be able to find a YouTube video and be able to read through it. Lots of different folks learn different ways. So for the C# and the Cards series that I've been building, to exactly your point, I'm going to give, here's a video so you can watch and listen to an instructor, this guy right here, talking about the solution, the situation that we're going through. Additionally, there's written text that you can follow through and read, here's how this works. And there's interactive code that you can work with so you can tinker with it either while you're listening to me talk about it or on your own at a self-paced. So LTL King, I'm right there with you. And I want to provide options for folks because folks do learn different ways. For example, LTL King worked in an office that wasn't my train job, I had to pick up things and learn them. Okay. Got Excel sheets from others, tore them apart, trace around the cells, run the formulas. Nice. Doing a little bit of reverse engineering there to learn how it works. Okay. LTL King continues. When getting things from, I think you mean GitHub, is there a way to download the source folder and get everything under it, or do you have to get each of the folders shown? Here, I'll go back over to GitHub and I can show you in this project that we've been working on. So I'll click back. So this is Tags app. If you want to just download the code, if you click the code thing here, there's the clone option that will download and give you a local repository to work in, or you can download the zip file and it'll give you the entire repository. So there are options that you can do to you can work with using Git to do what they call sparse cloning or sparse downloads, and you can mark specific folders. Give me just these things. That's how when I work with the Microsoft Learn documentation, I have a cloned local copy of the Learn documentation. However, I only mark a couple folders that I'm working on because the Microsoft Learn website, like if you go to this website, learnmicrosoft.com, all of the content of this website is in one GitHub repository. It is massive. It is more than 10 gigabytes. Okay? So, and each one of these pages is a page of Markdown in GitHub. So there are ways, see, there you go. There are ways to, like I said, it's called sparse cloning or sparse downloading that you can use to download just pieces that you need. Are there any GitHub programs that I know of that would be good for learning to make games? Well, do you want to learn how to make games, or do you want to learn how to use GitHub? Those are two different skill sets. Learning how to use GitHub is something that really goes back to old science lab things of, hey, you've got a collection of changes that you're making, work on them, and when you're done, turn them in, and they get shared to everybody. And the other way around. Somebody else finishes making changes, they get turned in and shared to everybody. It's those concepts. And learning the commands and interactions around them, and you'll see me do them here on stream, make you a better developer. With game creation, the assets that you end up creating don't work as well on GitHub because they're large binary objects. The graphical resources, maps, that data that you need in order to build, work with sounds and movies that are going to be generated doesn't work too well in the way that GitHub structures source control. So, hey, Abdul Wazia, welcome on YouTube. What is the change in the Blazor in this year? What is the change in, what do you mean by what is the change in Blazor? Help me out there. The change in functionality? Significant change in functionality. And you'll see me go through and talk about it. Being able to specify where the code executes on the fly, not on the fly. Per page and per component is the big enhancement. Yep, there you go, Thindall. All Nippon Airways. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Japanese airline. Gotcha. Website is very outdated. Oh man, that's awful. Oh my gosh, that's awful, Redux. Click the green checkbox. Yeah, right, and then download zip, and you can download. Yeah. Usually competition would help to fix issues like this. Yes. Well, it's not just competing with the airline. It's the airline the airline sees the website not as a front door to your experience with them. They see it as a moneymaker. They see it as a profit center. So, in order for something to be profitable, you either charge more money than you spend making it. So if you can spend less making it, your profit is larger. However, if you spend less making it, and because it's so bad, less people are able to use it, well, your profit is not that large. Mm. Yes, I didn't go to Thindall's session. I was in the air while I was flying. Sorry. Did they offer me a free cup of tea? They did. They offered me a free bottle of Glenlivet also. I took them up on that. So, Glenlivet, the American's scotch. No, not really. Let me see here. So, yeah, okay. Abdul Wazir, you don't need to repeat yourself. I'll get to your questions. I will. I read every question coming through. And Windows is in a mono repo also. Yes. And I think you're really asking me to ban you. And yes, there's a special file system for Git. You see it on Azure DevOps. I'm not sure that it's on GitHub, where they keep Windows. I'm 90% positive it's on Azure DevOps. It's a large file storage, yeah. So, oh, you want to learn to make games? Okay. There's a number of resources you can get to from the learnmicrosoft.com websites that'll help you with that. If you go to .net/learn, there is a game development section here that will help you get started with Unity. There's all kinds of tutorials available out there. These are the ones that my team, the .net folks, help with. And there's next steps here to take you over to Unity and get started with their tutorials as well. So, oh, that link doesn't work. There you go. So, absolutely. Simple mechanics and design, just new graphics. Okay. It's a pretty good scotch. Not gonna lie. I'm a Macallan guy myself. Google learn to make games. So when in learning to make games, be sure that to remember that as you go through this, you may have to learn a programming language and how the engine that you choose works with that programming language. A lot of folks like Unity and Godot because C# is so flexible and can be compiled down and get really fast under the hood. Can be. You can always shoot yourself in the foot and do something stupid as well. So that's part of where debugging and quality assurance comes from. Yep, just start somewhere. Just start writing code. Like, the C# in the card series is going to write a little card game by the time we get done it. It's going to be a little playing card game, and something that, let's face it, a card game is not complex. We don't have to worry about dealing with network and other interactions, but it's something that we can graphically do and have fun with. I'm not familiar with Stride. Mots!
Moz 2005 just resubscribed for 69 months.
69 months. Thank you so much. Tier 3! And I'll make another donation to the American Cancer Society. Thank you so much. Of course, Justy, I have no problems with folks talking about other streamers. Mentioning other streamers. I don't want to talk negatively about somebody else. That's something that Twitch will ding me on. But it's perfectly fine to mention. I think you're probably going to mention our friend Thor at Pirate Software, who is very much in the mindset of, just go start writing games. There's a lot of folks out there that need to build websites or mobile apps or other little applications that save them time and make them productive. So, complexity of games comes from graphics and graphics adjacent tasks. Yes, Bitwise, totally agree. Pirate Software is he has a bunch of tutorials and information on his website about getting started building games. And Thor's a friend. I have no issues with Thor at all. There's other folks out there that stream about software on Twitch that aren't quite as positive and encouraging as what Thor and I do. So, let me head back over. I mean, I am back over. Let's get in and talk about some of the stuff that I want to work on here today. Because we're building a website that shows and allows you to interact with all the various social medias. Social medias? Sure, right. That's a thing. No, it's a Tag Zap. There we go. Once again, this is completely open source. Is it though? I don't think it is. Is it? I guess it is. And I'll split my screen here so I can work on source control things down at the bottom, and up top here I will jump into the application. Let's .NET watch this so we can interact with it. Unlocked source? No, it's open source. Yeah, take a look at the live coder stream. Yep, live coder stream team. So, there are some very gatekeepy folks that stream on Twitch that do like to tear folks down, like to be discouraging, and quite frankly, work on projects that aren't entirely safe for work. Some of them even work for Twitch. Those topics are all within Twitch's terms of service. However, I don't find them entirely ethical. I don't find them entirely educational or encouraging, and that's not what I try to do. You're allowed to do that, and that's okay. And if that makes those people happy and it makes them happy with themselves, that's fine. It doesn't make me happy. I don't feel encouraged, and it doesn't feed my spirit to present and interact with folks that way. So, you're welcome to do your thing. I'll do mine over here. You always want to be respectful of the streamer watching. I am very open to being encouraging, to discussing most any topic. So, but I will not. I will not talk negatively about other streamers, other content creators. So, you think overall the Twitch streaming community is really wholesome? I don't think you've seen much of the Twitch streaming community. All right, so we've been working on this interface to present. I don't like how it starts off in that really thin presentation. At some point, we're going to need to address that. Why isn't my... Did something happen? Something didn't happen. It's not showing the header. I'm clicking on the... This has been working literally for months. And now all of a sudden I go to click on the header and it doesn't work. What? Don't make me have to go back and fix that. But there's a moderation screen here that we've been building and working on that lets you see here's all the messages coming in. So, overall, it's kind of a cesspit, the coding community. So, what's interesting is if you look particularly at the Twitch Streamer Awards, what they consider the coding community isn't the coding community. 3 of the 4 folks that were nominated for programming streamer of the year don't write code. They do not write code live on stream. So the number of hours that they've streamed in the category. 2 of them it was 0. Another one of them it was like 20. Like, so. Development is hard, and the culture of everyone can code and more coders is always better is not always true. Totally agree. Totally agree, Bitwise. Bad code can be very destructive. Yes. Oh, I still need to make sure the pause button works too. Ooh, I need to work on that. Let's make sure that's in the mix here. Yeah, and then we got to make the pause button work. We need to verify pause button on moderation. That's not how you spell moderation. Hey. Verify pause button on waterfall. All right. He doesn't teach actual coding. Who? So we got to remember, folks are coming into channels at different levels. So some folks are coming in at a very basic level and they don't know the basics of types. Some folks are coming in at an intermediate advanced level and they're going to talk about other things that are higher concept than that. You've watched many YouTube, Twitch, and even took a class. However, when I go to do it on your own, can't remember what does what. Okay. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Why is the waterfall button here not working? This button here isn't working. That's gonna annoy the snot out of me. Let's go open up Tags app source code and take a look at that. Hey, it's Visual Studio. Yay! Who are my favorite lesser-known .NET content creators? Singleton Sean. I'm not familiar with Singleton Sean. Corey Weathers is fantastic. I really enjoy watching Corey Weathers. Frank Boucher is great. That wasn't the Frank I was thinking of. Oh my gosh. Why can't I think of his name? The other Frank. Frank Kruger does some really, really cool stuff with .NET. So, makes WPF and Maui videos. Okay. What extension am I using to generate closed captures? So I'm using this is a closed caption plugin for OBS from Rat with a compiler. I will share this in chat. There you go. So this actually, so there are other folks who have written all kinds of captioning services as extensions to Twitch that overlay the content. The tool that I'm using actually puts captions into Twitch, and you should be able to see, yeah, the captions do flow through to there. For some reason, they don't show up on YouTube, but they're in line the way that native video should be presenting closed captioning. I haven't checked this at all to see if there was a new release. No, he hasn't done a new release on the closed captioning in a while. So... Wow, Wrexham lost. Oof. Oh, that's tough. Oh, that's tough. They have had a real hard go of it in 2024 so far. You're welcome for the closed caption. Yeah. Yep. All right, let me dive in here. So the waterfall page that you see over here, see this button up here? This is supposed to trigger and show content here. I should get rid of this logging. Rendered message from and received n number of messages. Well, it's right there, gosh. Get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. And received 50 messages. Messages for the tag. Yeah, where's that at? No. Where's that coming from? I know it's coming from somewhere. Find it. Don't need that anymore. All right. So somewhere. Okay, waterfall messages. Let's walk this back. Okay, so that just calls into body, which should show this page. There's the pause button. Where's the header? It's this one. Yeah. There it is. Because... yeah. This component, where it has that button, that's the menu. Right there. That's where it is right there. So let's talk about this for a second. In building with Blazor, you have code that runs interactively on the server, interactively that runs on the browser, or you have static code that's rendered on the server and just sent down and it forgets about it. In order for us to be able to handle an on-click event, we need to be running interactively. So we have to choose to run either interactively on the server or interactively in the browser. I want this to be interactive on the server so that it gets that content and paints it on the screen. But I don't think it's going to just do that and work. Right? Did I save that? So let's force a rebuild rerun. Agile layout is a superior alternative to waterfall. Bitwise, I see what you're trying to do there. So, right? Because I want to be able to handle interactions besides just paint content on screen. Man, here we go. Now I've stepped in it. Because its render mode is not supported, and that's on Pages Waterfall. Yeah. Okay. So if I take that out, I could turn this into a WebAssembly component, and it will work. The on-floating header click changes a setting. Yeah. Okay. I guess we're going to have to do that. So, because it's an interactive component, it's something that's responding to something. I need to move it to someplace that it can be interactive. I could make it an interactive server component. I could. Let's see what happens if I do that. So I'm going to create a new component here. Karnak, you were supposed to be running. Karnak will show you the hotkeys that I'm working with here. There it goes. So let's call this floating header switch. Floating header button. .Blazor. Blazor. Okay. So I'm going to specify render mode, interactive server. Okay. And we want to render this right here. Could have used Carl's solution. No. Carl's solution is about maintaining state, not passing events. So I want to move that over here. And this has, well, here's where I'm passing state back and forth, right? That's going to... Ooh. Wait a sec. It's not this. That UI state. Isn't that being used somewhere else? No. 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 That's just an object. That talks about the floating header, and where all is this used? Show me. Yeah, it's only in that waterfall razor. And it's right there. And right here. Thinking. Nalian!
Nalian just resubscribed for 13 months.
Thank you so much. 13 months with us, and I'll make a donation to the American Cancer Society. Shoot. I'm thinking here. That state information has to flow back to this. And changing that. The I don't want to say easy, but the way around this would be just to make this whole page interactive WebAssembly. Because I need that interactive button. But see, this is interactive WebAssembly because of how we want it to update and paint and render things on screen. Right, there's a speed of those interactions that I need to have in the browser. So that's included there, and that's a jump to WebAssembly. So where do I put this? The Scrum layout. Oh, you're getting to me here, friends. Where can I put this? And actually, that's not what it should say there. It should be app config, site name. Anyways, where do we put this? Where do we put this? If I were to make this whole page WebAssembly, it would save me from... But here's my concern. Well, wait a sec. Floating header is... That's being set true on this page. That value, I don't think, is ever set to false. Like, yeah. That's never set to false on this page. So, let's just get rid of that. Like, that's not a thing. This has an on mouse out and an on click. If this was WebAssembly and this was WebAssembly, how do they communicate back and forth to each other? Right, if I need to communicate between two components hosted on the same page, this is where Carl's plugin that manages state would work. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you're overthinking this, Fritz. I'm thinking that we're overthinking this. Because even if I do look at where this thing is used, it runs this, and it doesn't actually do anything with that anywhere. Is Razor not needed anymore? Yes, it is. What I'm passing between them, this is a button that when you click it, triggers a CSS class on this one. And when you mouse out or you click on it, it hides it hides the header, right? This on hide, it removes the scroll in header. So the other way I could do this would be to write just a little bit of JavaScript to make this work. And then then I can... If I put in a JavaScript method, I could do that easily for these two things and not do the interactive C# for this, and I can leave this as a static rendered page. I could do that. Quite frankly, I feel like that's the path of least resistance. You know? Let me get rid of this button. Stop. Stop. What the heck was that? Delete. Yes. Let's just do this with the JavaScript method. Because I think that's the path of least resistance. Write the code that you need to write to get the job done. Don't work around and fight the framework to do one of these things. So I do have in root, I do have a JavaScript here. Oh no. Sure, let's add a simple one here. Yeah, new item. Let's just call this waterfall.js. Right, I want to do something like this, like that. Right, so that we auto-initialize ourselves. Right, function, that's what I'm forgetting. No. Stop. Function, like this, like that. Did I remember that right? Yeah. Window dot waterfall UI equals var waterfall UI equals, and we'll do this thing here. So we'll set up an object to pass along and make this easily available. Right, let's just add another file. I'm gonna move things over and hopefully make it easier to do things here. See how it does invoke void async. We can do an include here also. Right, we can do JS runtime, invoke void async. What is it to load a module? Here we go, right? Somebody was asking, well, I want to be able to see how you solve problems here. Blazor load JavaScript module. I forget how to do that. It's one of those blocks of codes that you write once and forget it. Yeah. Import, there we go. Invoke async, import, and then the name of the file to run. Right, import, and no. It's going to be not import. Import? No. /JS, it's not masonry. It's a waterfall UI. No, waterfall.js. And I only want to do that on the first time through. Why don't you like that? What? IJS object reference? Sure. Let's do something like this. And we'll only run this on the first render of the page. So then I could say, that's not bad. That's not bad. I like that, actually. Import has an M. Yeah. Right? How is that JavaScript lined up? Export class. So I should be able to... They do love JavaScript. They do. So I should be able to then say, right, like something like that. Right? Why am I forgetting my JavaScript here? Yeah. Right? No. I'm bouncing between languages. I'm context shifting in my head, and it's confusing. Yeah. Right? And we're going to set that up as a function. Right? And this function is going to reach into here. I want to grab floating header, and I want to add these two, right, the hide floating header methods. I forget how we do encapsulation. I mean, what do I put it out here? How did I do this before? How did we do this before? No, that's okay. Give me my old site.js. I forget how to do this. Function, then we had vars and constants and things that we were setting up. And then the various functions. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so those were set up like above it. Yeah. Right? I forget how to do this, chat. Yeah. So I could do like function, hide header. Something like that. Not quite. I want to get floating header. I can do get element by ID because I'm fancy like that. Hey, Rambling Geek. Hello. If only somebody was... I see what you're doing here. We're going to remove class, right? Or is it CSS? Class list. There it is. Remove. And it's going to be... I forget what that is. Scroll in. And there is a time delay, and then scroll it out. Enable header scroll out. Remove it is part of the removing the class thing. So I want to put on the button. Where is it? Right there. Ta-da. So document get element by ID. This thing. Oh, yeah. That's right. So good. I don't want to do toggle. I want to do add. And, all right, fine, do toggle. No, add. Right? Because it should add only if it's there. Yeah, I think that's fine. So it'll scroll in, and the other thing that we want to add. Where's the timeout? Right, that 3 seconds to scroll it back in. So when it does get clicked, okay. So right, this is the toggle so that while the mouse is over it, it doesn't hide it. This is GitHub Copilot collateral damage. Yeah. So let's set up a variable up here. Right. Enable header scroll out equals false. It starts off false, I think. Yeah. So when you do click it, on floating header click, it'll delay and in 3 seconds mark it as true. Why don't I just go over to the way I had this before? No. Why don't I remember this? Is this just on the waterfall page? Like, can we just go steal what I wrote before and bring it back? Like, that feels like the easiest way to do this instead of trying to reinvent it. There's the waterfall header. There's the button. Is it down in here? Like, this was a thing before. Just find it in this project. It's right there. It is in... Okay, it's in this specific layout. So, add event listener, click Windows set timeout. Oh, here. Do that. Where'd it go? Click. Windows set timeout. Add event listener. Mouse leave. Class list remove. Scroll in on click. Remove the scroll in and add the scroll in. Yeah. So I don't need this up here. Right? Should work. Go to the end. Yep, go ahead, restart the app. Show me this thing working now. I still have all the Blazor features on that page. Hang on. Go yank it like you just don't care. Get rid of those. Get rid of this. Rebuilding over here and not found. Okay, can't find the CSS. Refresh that, John. No, not working. 404 not found on the fav icon. But sure feels like I didn't get to... I'm removing this and that. These should run. Actually, I should say waterfall HTML. No, I didn't load it. Didn't load it. Rebuild that thing. Const floating header? I don't think so. Okay. It did not load the JavaScript. Like, why didn't that execute? Boy. What do we got? Hamsters? All right, we'll have some fun with that. Sure. Reload that page. Did not load it. Why? Attempting to add JavaScript. Hey there, Alu the Crow.
Alu the Crow just resubscribed. For 12 months, I can hardly believe it's a year already, Fritz. Hope you're doing well, and thank you for building awesome content and providing excellent guidance.
Thank you.
Coffee Aluth Point.
Thank you so much. Hope you're having a great one. Yeah, let's have some fun. Oh yeah. And you want hamster voices. I think we can do something with that. There it is reloading, and I'm gonna force the reload of the page. No. That import did not work. Like, it didn't even try it. No. No. All right. I mean, I could, right? I can kind of lean into the fact that I have my own layout for this page. What happened over here? Let me see. It's right there. Yeah. No script. Thank you. JS waterfall. Then I don't need to call that. No, I do want to call that. But really, I can do that with JS runtime. Ta-da. Did you really reload? I don't think you did. Yeah, unexpected stream. How you doing there, Xbox One? About to make a Blazor hybrid app with web forms. Cool. I did try with the first render. No, it's still not running. Look at that. Get rid of the tilde. Okay, there it is. So did it actually wire up? No. It didn't. No, it didn't. Really? You make me so angry. You make me so angry. So angry. I only want to do this on first render. I want to see it write the words added JavaScript in my console here. No. No. Do a rebuild of that. That on after render should be. Wait a sec. Where's it saying setting floating header to true? Where's it saying that? Really? It's in the UI state. I thought I removed that thing. Get rid of this. That isn't a thing anymore. This goes away. Excuse me. Burger B, hello. Don't worry about that. But this... I don't think it's getting into this at all. Coffee's done. Um, um, what if I move that down? And put it in the WebAssembly part. Now you're not going to let me close everything up here. Right, if I put it right there. Right, so I've moved it from on the static server rendered. Yeah, we are Penn State. How you doing, Burger B? Okay, there we go. Attempting to add JavaScript, so there it goes. Right, so while I'm moused over this, it should not go away, but I mouse out, and it goes away. So, okay, that works again. I'm still not thrilled with, right, when I refresh, you see how everything comes in kind of all smushed. But that's because it doesn't do that rendering until this happens. For the what if I made everything invisible to start? Right? What if I went through into here? And if I started with article an article display none. The masonry does call on it. I can't call on initialize because it hasn't painted yet. Right? It hasn't painted the user interface. Each one of these components, as they're added, should resize the grid item when it's when it is it? Hang on. Because this is static server rendered, it's pre-rendering that. And that is interactive WebAssembly. If I turn off pre-render on this, no. What is it to turn off the? Why am I forgetting this? in order for me to have some sort of a image that displays, I think the issue is the pre-render here. And the pre-render version show the throbbing, right, the spinner when it loads and gets the data, then swap out. The placeholder see the how do I have the placeholder only when it pre-renders? Oh, I forget. What is it to do? Blazor, turn off pre-render. No. 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 There it is. New interactive server. New interactive. No. See how it blinks? That's because it pre-rendered. You can't get rid of the blink. Yeah, that was it. Ink 4s, yeah. How you doing there, PC nerd? You're right, Steve. Yeah, yeah. And then when it finishes loading, boom, there they are. But while it's loading, I can put a placeholder on there, right? Right, so now I can do, right, if there isn't any content, do this. Otherwise, spin, baby, spin. Yeah, hot reload succeeded. Show me. Doesn't show it. There it is. And then poof. Just make sure. How am I doing today? Not bad. Just fixing some usability issues on the waterfall screen here. So hard refresh. See, that should show the spinner, and then, but it's empty. It's empty because it's not showing this either. But that hasn't rendered yet. It's trying to hand off to the WebAssembly bits, and they haven't loaded yet. Right? See, now that it's downloaded, right? I could put a spinner in there also. So, to do needs a placeholder spinner. No. How do I ask for the next one? Visual Studio, ask for next Copilot suggestion. Control right. No. No. Yeah, I just tried alt right. Alt right. No. No. Show a placeholder spinner animation. No. It really likes that content, but no. No matter. So, when it's loaded and you're wandering around and using the application, boop, and back over to moderation, loads really quick. So, I think still need a little bit of a spinner to make that. Yeah, I was trying to get it to give me some CSS. No. Nope. Right, if I were to include that. Need to close that. See? It's not bad, it's there. But that's not what I want. I want some sort of a loading animation. No. It is... It has its mindset. And how dare you try and change it? Do I have experience with Windows Active Directory? A little bit. What are you looking for help with? So... It's not doing what I want, so stop it. I'm just going to leave it the way it is right there. But I've got that fixed at least so that it's coming back through. There we go. Am I using Bootstrap? Sure am. Yep. WebAssembly is a pretty good framework. I probably should have some sort of thing here so that it isn't like blocking waiting to load things. Like, can we make the moderation content appear faster? Because it does a for each content values reverse. Right? This is all the filter criteria stuff that still needs to go in there. So uninitialized, configure the SignalR connection, and then it goes and gets all this data. And then it initializes the content. What if I move the initialized content up front? No. Really? No. Let's... a little bit better. That's the bootstrap spinner. So if I went up here... If content, any... Missed that. Still rebuilding. Now I've done it. Almost got it. For each in reverse. Yeah. So now if I try and stop. There's the spinner. Bloop. So if I want to center that thing. Oh. No. This one. No. I could move this up here and no. What if we did that? Yeah? Whoa. Well, that's not right. Too many styles now. No. Yeah, that's the windmill, all right. No. If I put these on this one. Hey, there we go. It's in the right place. Right, so click away, click back. There it is. Gone. I can deal with that. Cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate the help with that, Dr. Cox. It's not centered. Why aren't you centered? Let's do the same thing here. There it is. Cool. Click in, and there's the spinner, and poof. And I don't have the weird instant things showing the wrong way. Yeah. Look at that, right? Great job on center. Thank you. Thank you so much there, Johnny. Like, is the visually hidden class correct to use? I don't know. Yes, so that for folks that are right, folks that need to see a little bit of text need to be able to have that read. I think that's what we want. So, okay. So that cleans up a little bit of that. I still need to do. I still need to work on the pause buttons. Yeah. So if I pause that, yeah, for screen readers. Yeah. Go ahead and keep sending some messages. Let's see if we get stuff into the pause button there. Right. Okay, so that didn't add, but it also didn't increment the counter. Here. That's the moderation message. Don't need that. There's the pause button. So it is in the pause queue. The pause button has a counter. So as we receive messages and it is paused, right? Hey there, Unhip Coder.
Unhip Coder just resubscribed for 39 months. Yay.
How you doing there? Thank you so much. Let's do... No, I don't want to do it on the whole page. Let's do it on just the pause button. Right? Ooh. Yep. Can we just... No, it won't convert. Yep, that's right. And... that way it forces an update on the button. That's Robert Tables. Hello, my friend. There we go. Now it says 7. Look at that. So if I press play, it should drain off. And it didn't. Look at that. Robert Tables, 49 months.
Tables
49
just
months.
resubscribed for 49 months.
Thank you
Happy
so
day
much, my
for
friend.
Super Bowl.
Hello. That's right. Day before the Super Bowl. You love learning new stuff from me? Thank you, Collateral Damage. So, okay, clicking the button didn't release and send through my content. Well, that's a problem. So, on pause updates, invoke async. So, there's an event there that we should have been connected to do a thing. Maybe we didn't. There's the pause button. No, we didn't wire up when you click it to do stuff. Now I feel bad. So on pause updates, and it returns. All right. Like when it is paused and we receive messages, kind of hide it. But when we unpause, right? So it's at. I'm just going to add it declaratively here. So what are you up to, Robert Tables? How are you doing? I'm going to add a on pause updates. Handle. No, let's call this on pause click. Yeah. And I'll put a thing in here. Public async task bool new pause state. Right? Yeah. So holy crow. If the new pause state, add all the items in the pause queue to the waterfall. Clear. And then state has changed. It just needs to be if we're not paused. Like, are you kidding? Pardon me for 1 second here. I have a call coming in I need to take. I like that idea of getting so. Hang on, let me get something to drink. It's been a little bit. I've got 1 second. Where'd that button go? There it is. And I have a request still hanging out here for hamsters mode. Really? Really? Let's do this. Let's do this. So what was it? Robert Table said just got back from party shopping at grocery stores. Oh man, it's got to be crazy out there today. Getting ready for the game tomorrow. Yeah. I went and I bought some stuff this morning when I did the food shopping, so that I could make a couple of the recipes I've seen TikTokers make. We're gonna do stupid TikTok recipes for the game tomorrow, and it's gonna be priceless. Your daughter works at a grocery store and said Sunday morning will be worse. You're probably right, collateral damage. Come to think of it, I you know what? You're probably right. TikTok is great for recipes. What I like learning is the stupid things that people are like, yeah, just put this on top of that and then throw it in the air fryer for 10 minutes and boom, it's delicious. I'm like, really? And some of them they're right on. Most of them they're not. As soon as I see somebody break out a block of Velveeta cheese or cream cheese, I'm like, you're done. You've lost. Like, I know you're lying to me. Cheese-like product. That's right. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Right? Going back to my list of tasks that we had to work on. So we fixed the waterfall header. The button there wasn't working. We threw in a little bit of JavaScript to take care of that, John. Yeah, I just said John. But the pause button was not working properly. It turns out I didn't wire up the event. So we're going to wire up the event. If the new pause state is unpaused, go grab everything in the pause queue, update, and then notify the world we're good. So that should have updated. So I'm going to hit pause here. And if you can send me some more messages there, chat, this is where you get to unit test, integration test the framework. You can see the pause button down there has a 0 on the counter. I added that counter so you can see how many messages are coming in. There you go. So, right? And you can see the number is ticking up and they're not being added to the screen for each one of the messages that you're keying in. Love it, right? This way, as a host, I can hide the pause button, right? I can put my screen in front of the pause button, or I can kind of stand in front of it a little bit, and you can't see it. And then when I press play, poof, there it is. Everything came through. Are we there yet? Yep. But now my counter isn't displaying at all. So go ahead and give me some more messages, right? So, yeah, it's not... The counter completely disappeared. Why did the counter disappear? Like, invoke async. Like... Hey, Dukasoft, hello? I know, the counter disappeared. So if I pause, now it comes back and it says 6, but I cleared the queue. Oh, do I need to, like, reset the counter? Like... Was I actually... I was setting the counter. Oh, fine. So, when we de-unpaused, is that a thing? Right? Right there. Right? So, equals 0. Right? So now it says 2, 3... Run it, and now it goes back to 0. Yeah. Pause. Let's see if we get some more messages. Queuing up in there. Yeah, there we go. And then it flows through. Cool. So we got that working. That's on the moderation page. Let's also check into that. Now, why is it lined up wrong over here? Look at that alignment. I also feel like there might be a... we might want a configuration option that says move the pause button over to the other side. NVMe for Raspberry Pi. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Why isn't it centered there? And what is this? Could not find setup waterfall. Waterfall UI was undefined. Where? We just had that working. Window waterfall UI. What? Rebuild. Was the moderation page converted to WASM? Yes, it was. Nitro Evil. Yes. Because we needed speed of performance on the interaction. The native interaction in the browser was superior than doing the server loop. Wouldn't you want the counter only to appear when it's in a paused state? That's a good point. Counter display only when is paused and the counter is greater than 0. So if I'm not paused, no, this should be is paused and counter greater than 0. You're right. So it's still showing it. Did I not? Span style counter display. It's either display none or display block. Hang on. No. Put that in the wrong place. Right, so if it is paused and the counter is greater than 0, then yeah, hot reload succeeded. No, it's still showing. No, it's still showing. What? I'm doing add event listener on floating header, but I don't think you declared in waterfall. Hang on. That's doing a hard rebuild. Start. Reload the page. No. Pause button is in the Blazor client. Yeah, it's showing that no matter what. Floating header is not defined. Okay, hang on. It doesn't know what that is. Hang on. It's that. Floating header. Yep. I could move that up. Nope. But it's on this layout. Yeah, now I can't get into the thing. Right, so... No. Mm-mm. There's the layout. I feel like, do I need to go in here and put section content, section name equals scripts. For some reason, I don't think that's going to work. Or maybe it will. Yeah, that worked. Nope, didn't. Could not find it. Hey, Tasty Tea Dev. Hello, it's going well. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. 404, let me come back to you in just a second. Because I'm kind of scatterbrained right now across two different things. Yeah. I'm trying to add it in the section content here, but it isn't. I'm just going to move it out and add it to app Blazor. Really? I'm just going to add it. And we'll figure out how to conditionally add it later. But now it'll just always be there. I'm not a fan of that, but floating header is null. Yeah. Because now that actually needs to be called in here. So that reloaded, that worked, back over to here, back over to there. Yeah. Okay. Now, let me come back. 404, you're saying I'm setting it to 0 in the... Is that the counter you're referring to? Yeah, I'm setting the counter back to 0 on the pause button, which does a state has changed, right? Chaotic Monkey.
Chaotic Monkey just resubscribed for 35 months.
Where do you get Osh?
Jeff and chat.
Yeah, when I set it to 0, and then I call state has changed, right? That should trigger a reevaluation of this. Hang on. No, that's included in this page, so it's being rendered and run WebAssembly side. Okay. So when I set counter equals 0, and then it calls state has changed, which is going to update that. that's not being updated. That's not being reevaluated. Hey there, Slow Burglar. Welcome. So when it first appears, let's say display none. Really? I even set it to display none. There it is. So now when I pause it, the counter value is 0 right now. So it should be receiving messages and incrementing the counter. Moderation. New message. It's setting the counter right there. And it should trigger the display. State has changed. So it should update that. And now it goes back and it's showing it. What the heck? If it's paused, and the counter is greater than 0, no, I do have that backwards. If it's not paused, or the counter, no, just if it's not paused, hide it. Okay, it's hidden. Pause. And it's not showing it. No, there it goes. Now it says 1. Play, and it goes away. Pause, and it's not showing it when the value is 0. That's fine. Right. And hey, Sean. Hi. I saw your message on LinkedIn. I hope you're doing well. So, okay, that's working. Over here, when I click pause, now I need to have... You don't think it needs to show 0? If it's... So... Or... counter equals 0. So I need to have the moderation page open also. There we go. So when I click pause, count is 0 right now, waiting. So as messages come in, like that one from Code from Sean, I've got 1 message in the queue. I'm paused over here on waterfall view. There it is. I'm not paused. So if I pause it and we approve something, right? It didn't increment the counter. I don't think I have that logic on the waterfall page. Start signaler hub. New waterfall message, it just adds it. It doesn't actually do the remove. It should have just... Yeah, it just added the message regardless of the pause state. So we need to add in the pause handlers over here. Fine. Where'd it go? We'll capture the pause button in the pause queue. There. It already has the pause button. Okay. I do need the queue. So if paused, we're going to do this. Cool. And then I need the handler. Right. Right there. And we're just going to add the content because we don't have moderation content. And reset the counter. It's on waterfall. It's better. All right. Refresh that. Is this WebAssembly or server-side? Both, Urban Blaster. You're using a dashboard to make Blazor to make dashboard status stuff? Cool. Cool. So I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to try to approve something from over here. Here. Now, it says there's additional messages that came through. It did not increment the counter on this, but if I click play, did not add the message. And it did not clear that out. Oh boy. So I approved the message and it never came through. Ah, there it is. Are they at the same time? Yeah, they are. Okay. Try this again. So if we pause here. So the inside of this page is WebAssembly. Everything from moderate content down is WebAssembly. This stuff at the top is static server rendered. So there's a message in the pause queue. I'm going to go to this one. Let's pause the front. And I'm going to approve that. Now see, it went up to 3, even though no new messages came in. But it went right through. If the pause button is paused, it should add it to the pause queue and stop at that point. I have a feeling it didn't reload properly. I have a feeling there's a state. We're in a weird state here. Let's see. All right, reloading the page. Just to make sure, I'm gonna hard reload everything. Okay. Pause this. Pause that. So that went into the queue. Approve this. So, yep, it showed up down here and it didn't pop up. If I click resume, it does come through. Okay. So that appears to be working. The approve is putting 2 messages into the queue, into the pause queue. On moderation. So when we click approve here, right? So if it is paused, it should go into the pause queue, try to find it, remove it, and then add it, and it's not. I'm going to take that as a bug for right now. Yeah. Like, that should go look for it and do the thing there. And when we call moderate, it just goes and says set status on the thing. On the server, which sends back then the approved message, the approved state. And it should... Is it possible there's a locking issue there? It's possible. Bug. This does not handle paused state properly and adds 2 messages to the queue. Okay, so now let me... Right, so we're paused, and if I reject this... See, that didn't increment messages on the queue. Right? First or default. Should just be the provider ID. I don't care about the content model check, but but that was cool. Is this a web? So I just rejected that and it still popped in. So on remove message, it's only looking on the content. We need to do the same thing over here. We're just going to remove it if it's been rejected. Yeah. 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 If not, the pause button. So if it is not paused, remove it. Otherwise, remove it from the queue. Okay. So if I pause that and we approve something, I get a 1. And if I reject that same thing... I need to reset the counter then. Oh, thank you. So let's go back over here. Reapprove. Sure. Cancel. Yeah, there it goes. It removed it. If I'm paused on waterfall and you reject a message that was already approved, does it remove it immediately? So that's just it. But what I put in here is if you are paused, it will... I could remove it immediately if I took that out. Right? That will remove immediately. Right? So I'm in paused state. So if I go try to remove this message from Phil, right here, and I go back, it removed it immediately, even though I was paused. I think that might be a better choice, like you're suggesting, DGen1. But when I approve, it goes into the queue, and I press play, and then it pops up. So I think that's the state that we want. Okay. Let's put a note. Remove messages immediately from the waterfall, regardless of pause state. Thank you. So that we know that that's a better moderation guideline. It's really just a set of guidelines. Okay. So I'm still in this weird state. Oop, let that stuff come through. So I pressed play and it didn't clear, right? It says there's 16 messages waiting. That's a problem, right? So where'd it go? Well, it should call pause queue clear and set the counter to 0. And it didn't. Also, that message you just sent, DGen1, has not... So I'm going to pause. Right, so that's in the queue. And there it is. Okay. Pause. It shouldn't be adding those. But play, and it didn't... Do we have an error over here or something? We do. Good. What is that? That doesn't make sense. No, there is no auto mod didn't hit this. Right? Pause. Reject. Reject. Play. Pause. Right, there's the 1. Play. And then it clears it out. Pause. And while that's paused, approve, approve, play, and it isn't clearing it out when there's approval messages in there. But it should. Because if you unpause, we're going to add the appropriate content to the content model. If it's not, we need to paint. I think similarly, pause should not affect the approve reject painting of information on screen. So like, even though you have pause state turned on, if something's been approved or rejected, show those immediately on screen. It's rebuilding. Now, what's it saying where all the not founds up here? Favicon. That's fine. Career advice questions? Sure. Welcome in. Is it Peishi? Hello, welcome. So if we pause. There we go. So we get those couple messages queuing up there. That's fine. And if I approve, see, it's still counted up. Why did it count up? Oh, there's more messages coming. That's why. And if I play, no, it's still. it should have cleared out the counter right there. That should always clear out the counter. If new pause, right? Should clear out the pause queue. Reset the counter to 0. And since this is now set to not paused, it should go display none and re-update and paint. But it's not. That's not doing anything. Just got your first dev job at a top tech company and you're super fortunate. Right here, this message. Let's even put that up on the front page here. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Not doing any coding at all. It seems just working on containerization, Kubernetes testing. Any advice? There's many levels, many different departments, many different places that folks are writing code and supporting a project. Testing, validating, configuration, these types of things. Absolutely critical as part of the development process. Coming in as a more junior developer, you might be asked, hey, review this configuration. Hey, make sure that this is set up right. And learning what's set up right and set up wrong might be something as part of motivation on your supervisor's part to get you to understand what looks right, what looks wrong before you start writing code as part of that. I'm not saying that is their suggestion. I'm saying that's a potential motivation. That said, I think that's garbage. Talk to your supervisor. Your new supervisor should be very open to having conversations with you about your role and when you will be coding and contributing to the product. They should be very open to discussing that type of thing to you, with you. But I definitely understand your concern. Hey, you hired me to write code, but you have me just writing tests and testing that the containers work properly. Is that really what you want me to be doing? Totally agree. I think you're in a good place to have that conversation with your supervisor. That title should be something moderation on this page, by the way. Let me go fix that. Yeah, look at that. Page title moderation. But it's not. But it should be. Why not? And even then, right? Something like message moderation, and it's still not setting the title right. But look at this over here. Yeah. Rebuild. Hey, you just joined. How you doing there? Locarno 64 on Twitch. Of course I'm taking questions. Yes. So there's an AMA tag that's turned on just below. So you're busy with Blazor work daily. Any time saver techniques or gotchas? Off the top of my head right now, no. There's your message right there. Right, and if I approve that, it should just flow through and appear over here. There it is. And I click and it appears, and everybody's happy. That time, though, is the UTC time, not the local time on the modal. 1 second. Let's go fix that. That's on the modal. Send message to the overlay. That's another one we need to fix. But over here, right there. This shouldn't be just timestamp, but to local time. There we go. So now when I click it, 2:33. There we go. So handle your dates and times properly. Date time offset is your friend, so that if you are passing time zone aware data around, you are properly handling the time zone. These are all local time zone to me, US East Coast time zone. So live peer review my code. Locarno, this is an open source project. Go for it. Go for it. We are open and, yeah, happy to take a little bit of that feedback. Hey, thanks, Jedi Mega Man, for the additional. So if I pause, we should get more messages flowing through. And this doesn't line up right. The pause the blocked users indicator. We'll look at that. So I'll write a test message in there, and the counter pops up. And if I do an approve on one of these, it still adds. It's still adding counters in there, and I don't know why. But I press play, and it doesn't clear it out. Why isn't it clearing it out? It should always clear here. It added the content to the model, to the screen, but it should clear it out and set the counter to 0, which would then why? I'm also at a point with this page where I've got just too much. There's just too much code here, and I should throw it in a code behind. I should. Like, let's collapse some of these other things that we're not working on right now. Like, a new approved message comes in, it doesn't do anything with the counter queue. I think there's something. Like, we're doing a .NET watch here. I think clearn. You need to clearn that. Get on your clearner over there. Like, look, it's still running in the background. I think that .NET watch wasn't actually stopping. The sticky lines, that's a feature in Visual Studio. It's also in Visual Studio Code. Sticky scroll. There it is. Group the current scopes within a scrollable region of the editor region, maximum lines, and then prefer outer scope. So as I scroll through, right, it keeps the outermost scopes up there. All right, so I just rebuilt. Here, close these two screens. And I'm going to open moderation on its own. Waterfall over here. There's the waterfall view. Ba-ba. Here's the moderation view. Ta-da. I'm going to pause. Hey, Slow Burglar, do I recommend .NET Watch? I do. Yes, I definitely recommend .NET Watch. It's cross-platform, and for the most part, I feel like runs faster and responds better to code changes. Let me pass another message. There it is. So I have a 1 down there because of that message I just wrote. And if I do an approve, it's still counted up. Press play, and it put the 1 message on, and it did not clear it. I'm baffled why that doesn't work. If there's an approve message in the queue, which it shouldn't get, or wait a sec, is it getting it? Yeah, instead of the hot reload feature in Visual Studio. Yeah. Shoot. Is it I'm getting a new message? Let's just do a check. If pause queue any p dot provider ID equals content provider ID. Reload it. Okay, so pause. There's my 1 message. I will reject. Did not count it. Approve. Did not count it. Did count it. Did not clear it out. Counted up. Did not. It's not clearing the queue. The heck? Right? Pause queue. Clear. Removes all elements. And then sets the pause counter to 0. Okay. It's thinks it's 4. What's in? Don't do that to me. Yeah. Should I do it? it's incrementing. I don't know why. Pause. And if I play, it goes through, no problem. But if there's a message in there that is a moderation, it goes up 1. And then once I go to play, clearing the pause queue. Oh, come on. It's just weird, man. What invokes on pause click? That is a fine question. So in the pause button, there is a on click of that div that shows the pause button. So when that's clicked, it invokes the pause clicked void method here, which reaches into this on pause updates parameter, this event handler that's passed in, and it invokes and says, well, here's the current state. So I'm walking that back up, and inside here, it should clear that. So I'll pause, and I've got a message in there, and if I approve, see, okay, so it counts up, and when I depause, it never gets to that line. It never got there. It added, it did for each item in it. There's a invoke async state has changed to refresh. Where can you find this music playlist? This is the Stream Beats Synthwave playlist, Gifted Brain. So go to streambeats.com. And look for, this is the Synthwave playlist. Right, so... What? Did he rename it to Stream Beats TV? What? No, this isn't the same folks. Stream Beats, Harris Heller, Spotify. That's him. Where'd it go? No. No, I don't want you opening my Spotify. I don't know what he did. But it's sure not there. I don't know. There's a YouTube channel of it. Yeah. No, I don't want to play multiple stacks of this. I don't know what changed. I need to look up and see what happened. There's also a .NET domain. But it's not even getting to that. Right? Okay, hot reloaded. Pause. Approve something, and I've still get a message coming through. Unpause. And yeah. It doesn't get to this at all. Do I think there will ever be XAML support for Blazor WASM? No. No. There are folks that are building that out as an open source project. No, it's not a goal, Dan. For Blazor's intended to work with HTML. XAML is intended to give HTML-like formatting to app developers. So, why? If you do want something like that, that's where Project Uno comes in. Project Uno is XAML on WebAssembly in the browser. Yeah, I think you're right. There's an await in here. Like this content ad is updating the user interface. You have XAML designed already? Yeah, so check out Project Uno, and it'll get you there very, very quickly. Open source project that should have similar capabilities. I think there's an error that's happening in here because it works just fine when I don't have an approval message in that mix, right? So I clicked new and it did new approved, but it should not be adding a new message into the queue. And it's not. The pause queue is not taking a message here. You know what it's not doing? Oh, shoot. What? What is that, DGen 1? That is a good... Yeah. 24 comments. Yeah, Streambeats TV is somebody else. And the user agreement is not accessible. Yeah, there's something weird going on with streambaits.com. I use the Spotify playlist. I do need an if paused. No, that was right. If we are paused, if there is not a message in the pause queue, then add it. Yeah, I get the copyright notifications on YouTube all the time for every song that every song from Streambeats that plays on YouTube, I get a copyright message. If it's not in the pause queue and it's not in the content, yeah. Value provider ID equals content provider ID. Then add it. Yeah. Else if... Go ahead. What were you going to say? Remove it. Sure. And then re-add it. And I think we want the same thing with reject. So that if you have your screen paused while a new message arrives and somebody else moderates it, and it's still sitting in your pause queue, apply the appropriate moderation state so that when you unpause, it comes out in the appropriate state. Okay. It says it hot reloaded. Let's see what happens here. Harris did a website revamp and borked something. Really? What the hell is that? No. So pause, right? Test message, and it appears. I let it through. It clears. Pause. Test message. Increment goes up. Approve. Incremented the counter. It incremented the counter anyway. Play, and it doesn't clear it out, and it never gets to that message. There is something... and it never clears out. Right? No, I was looking at my Outlook because of the being out of town. I just never closed it. And press play, and that new message that came in from Phil doesn't get added. it's it doesn't release the queue. Right? New pause state. Come on now. Yep, file changed, hot reload. I'm gonna refresh. So pause that. Still adds a message. Yep, messages coming there. Pause. Increments the counter. Play. And it's lost the event handler. It doesn't, the event handler's gone, right? It is properly doing that, but it's not. It's not triggering that event at all. And yeah, something broke. No, I'm on the same page. No, it's the same page. I haven't changed pages. Do I know where the .NET and Maui team is located? They're in the U.S. Hey, Chasico, thank you. Am I logging the count to make sure? So if I refresh, the values are there. It's just, it's not, once an approved message comes in, it breaks somehow. And it only adds to the queue, like, here, let's even move this up in here. If there's a new approved message, if it's paused, check to see if the content is in there and add it. Let's move this up. And then it should stop at that point. Rebuild. Force it. Am I logging the count to make sure the state? I know it's the state. Like, let's right, so where's it? New message. If we're paused, new approved message. Let's also put it right there. Put it right there. Signal or messaging hubs I use replace the need to do something like separate controllers. A little bit, yes. Yes. They're two different controllers because one is secured because you need to be a moderator to have access. The other one is publicly accessible because everybody should be able to get messages. What? Okay. So F12 so we can see pause. New pause count 1. But it also threw new pause count 2. And now 3. It says there's 3 messages in there, but I release and only 2 messages came out. Pause. One message. Reject. 1. Approve. 2. Where did that come from? What is the second message in the queue? I'm going to log the provider IDs, dgen1. Let's put approved provider ID there. Yes, restart that app. But a refresh state... I need to stop soon here, stop streaming. I've got other things I need to get to here today. So, pause. Test. One new message, there's the provider ID. Approve. And it added that other message. Consequently, when I press play, but I if we're paused, and if the pause queue does not have that value, and that value isn't on the screen, add it to the pause queue. Right? Else, if it is already in the queue, remove it and re-add it so that we keep the state. There's something weird here. Doing a complete rebuild. Refreshing the screen. Okay. Pause. That should not come through. There's the pause queue. There's the provider ID for that message. I'm going to approve this one over here. It did not. It did not trigger. Did it trigger new message again? C dot value provider ID equals content. Rebuilding. Okay, reloading. Pause. Okay. One message in the queue. There it is. Approve and... Okay, there's another one from Locarno. If I approve this one, did not increment. That's what it was doing. It was sending a new message. Reject. Approve. Play. Now it works. Let's clear up this log. It was in there twice is what the deal was. Oh. Okay. When link expressions get more complex, I'll pull them out into a method. So that it becomes very clear what I'm doing, and then I can test it. I can unit test it then. Am I using some kind of window manager? No. It's Windows 11. So let's go back over to the waterfall display. I'm going to pause that one. I'm going to approve Mr. XQ's message and see it's not centered right. Let's see if we can fix that CSS here. You know what I mean? Close that. I want to look at the CSS of this John right here. Display block. See, and it's not the full width. Right? Move that up there. Let's look at the rules on this. If I make that width 100%, no. Should this be display inline block? No. It still doesn't like it. Why? Because there's a style on it. Well, the width of this thing is 4 rem. So should the width of this be 4 rem? That looks like it's correct. If I pause over here, change from span to div, shouldn't make a difference, but I see what you're saying. If I make that 4 rem, it's now too big. I'll change it to a div. pause counter. Let me go over here. That. Oh, come on. There's a CSS for that somewhere. Right there. In which case, I can just say pause counter. Right? It says it hot reloaded. And the counter's going missing. Okay, now it's up top here instead of being positioned correctly. See it? Yeah, hang on. No. Did not pick up the CSS. Shoot. I am way long here, friends. Give me just a second. All right, I do need to wrap up. Maybe try justify content and do some flex on that. Okay, that's working now. If I make that width 100%, it goes the full width of the thing here. If I do that as position relative, no. That 100% doesn't go 100% of what it's contained in. I've got 2 position absolutes on this thing. Why? No. But the parent container is this thing that is the full width. What if I take that and say width for rim? Then it works. I've got position listed here twice. That's not right. Make this 100%. That says it hot reloaded the CSS. Play, that works. Do a refresh, and then I gotta go. Pause. Test. Where's my button? Where's my number? It's on top. See it? Because it should be absolutely positioned. So that it goes to the... refresh. Pause. Change the page size. No, see, it's still up top. Even though I have a top specified. That is positioned absolutely. And then these are positioned absolutely so that I get the double effect. Yeah, I need to come back to this. I need to... I'm going to check in what I have here. It sounds like some of you are a little bit further on this idea than what I've got. Let me add everything here, and yeah. And just mark it work in progress. Let me know what you think, because I do need to run. I've got some other things to take care of. Take a look. Let me know what you see with this. Let me set up a quick raid here for folks that are on Twitch. Check it out on the GitHub repository. You can find my pull request, and you can take a look at what I've got there. It's just not functioning correctly. Let me get you rated over to... Excuse me. Let me get you rated over to Irish John Games. Irish John Games. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a longer stream than I expected, but I think we had a lot of fun. And we're solving a number of these problems that we need to address before we can move on. If you're watching on YouTube, have a fantastic rest of your time. Take a look at the rest of my streams down here. Over on the side, there's a great playlist of live content. If you're watching on Twitch, get ready to say hi to my friend Irish John Games, and I will see you Tuesday. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I wish you good health and good coding. Take care.